Okay, let's do this. Homework number 8 for chapter 3. Write an equation for each situation below, showing the area as a product is equal to the area as a sum. Okay, so to write the equation, you have to actually do the area model. Right, so the area model, you start out with 12x plus 1, and by knowing that, you already know the area as a product. So that's 12x plus 1, and you're going to multiply that by x minus 5, and that's going to be what you're multiplying by. So that's your area as a product. Now the area as a sum is when you fill in the area model. So just fill it in by doing multiplication. 12x times x is 12x squared. X times 1 is 1x. 12x times negative 5 is negative 60x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. So the area as a sum is going to be 12x squared. You can combine these two because they're both x's, so that makes negative 59x and then minus 5. That's your area as a product and area as a sum. Okay, so again, same thing, but we're going to go ahead and use, this is going to be a different product. So this is going to be 3m plus 5, and you can do it in any order you want. I'm going to write it as 3m plus 5 first. So it's going to be 3m plus 5 multiplied by 2m squared minus 4m minus 1. So it's going to be multiplied by 2m squared minus 4m minus 1. Okay, now the area as a sum, you have to figure out what's on the inside of the area model. So 3 times 3m squared, or 3m and 2m squared is going to be 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and there's going to be m to the third because there's m to the second times m to the first. 3m and negative 4m is going to be negative 12. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and then that's m times m is m squared. 3m and negative 1 is a negative 3m. 5 times 2m squared. 5 times 2 is 10. And then you have an m squared. 5 times negative 4, m. So 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And then you have the m. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Okay. And then while you're working this, you can work some things out. Like, for example, you can combine these two because they're both m's. You can combine these two because they're both m's. Oh, the other ones are m squares. So the area as a sum is going to start with 6m to the third. You can put it in any order you want, but it's customary to start with biggest and go to smallest, or smallest and go to biggest. So 6m to the third, and then 10m squared and negative 12m squared is going to be negative 2m squared. And negative 20m and negative 3m is going to be negative 23m and minus 5. Okay, same thing. Oh, but this time, no area model has been made for you, so you have to make your own. Okay, so area model like this, and you can put the units on anything you want, on any side or wherever. Okay, so for example, that 2x plus 5, I can put it right here. 2x plus 5, and then that x plus 6, I can put it right here. Okay, and I'll do it differently for the next one, and you can see it's the same thing. So I already know my area as a product. It's the x plus 6 multiplied by 2x minus 5. Now to figure out your answer for the inside, you have to do the area model and do the multiplication. So 2x times 6 is going to be a 12x. And then you're going to go 6 and negative 5 is going to give you negative 30. All right, and then on the other side, you can have 2x times x, which is going to be 2x to the second power. And then you're going to go negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. So this area is now written as part of its sum. So the area as a sum, and again, just like the other problems, you can actually combine some terms. So you can combine this negative 5x and that 12x. So again, it's customary to start with the biggest exponent. So it's going to be 2x to the second power. Combine the 12x and the negative 5x. and that's going to make positive 7x. And then you're going to have a negative 30 that doesn't combine. And that's your area as a sum and area as a product. Okay. Similarly, this one over here. Okay, so we're going to set up our area model. Okay, and then you can set up your product any way you want. And again, the product is already given to you. So area as a product. So I'm going to go ahead and write this down. And let's just say I'm going to write it on the top and on the right hand side, left hand side, excuse me. So we can do 3 minus 5y on this side. So that's one of my product, 3 minus 5y. And my other product is going to be that 2 plus y. Right, so you can set up in any way you want. The only thing you cannot do, and I don't think I've actually mentioned this to anybody, but you cannot put it, both on top and bottom. So you can't go 2 plus y and then 3 minus 5y, because if you do this, there's really nothing for you to multiply, because they both represent the same thing. So you cannot use it like that. So you could do one on top or bottom, and then one on left or right. But you can't do both top and bottom and both left and right. Okay, so same thing with left and right. You can't do both of them on left and right side. You have to do something along the top or bottom and something along the left side or the right hand side. Okay, area as a product right there, and the area as a sum. You have to do the area model and multiply it out. So that 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times y is a 3y. 2 times negative 5y is a negative 10y. And negative 5y times y is negative 5y squared. So again, usually the stuff in the middle will combine. So again, customers start with the biggest exponent, or maybe you want to start with the smallest. So start with 6, and then what's the next biggest, right? So we start with smallest, and we're going to grow from there. Well, we got a negative 10y and a positive 3y, which makes a negative 7y, and then you have a negative 5y squared. So you can write it this way. You can start from smallest and get to the biggest. Okay, number 1 and 2, we're going to calculate each of the following products by drawing and labeling an area model or using the distributed property. Okay, so far we've been working with just area models, so I'm going to go ahead and skip the distributed property. I showed it a little bit in class, but if you want to utilize it, you can go ahead and do it at your own discretion.
Aiden Dobbins, please report to the office. Aiden Dobbins, please report to the office.
So we have negative 4y, and then we have 5x plus 8y. I'm going to go ahead and figure this out. So this gets us negative 4 and 5 is negative 20, and this makes xy, because we have an x and we have a y. Negative 4 and 8 is negative 32. Use the calculator if you need to, and the y times y is y squared. So the answer is negative 20 xy minus 32 y squared. Just like that. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to put it a little further down because I will need a little space. This one is an x squared minus 2. There's only 2 terms, so I'm going to split it like that. This one's going to be x squared plus 3x plus 5. Go ahead and do the math. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. You can those powers only grow if you're multiplying it. X squared times 3x is going to be 3x to the 3rd. X squared times 5 is 5x squared. X squared times negative 2 is a negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times 3x is a negative 6x. Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. So our answer, I would put it over here, but I don't think I have much room. And then I'm going to go ahead and combine some stuff. So anything that has an x squared, I can combine. So like this term has x squared, and this term has x squared. Okay, and the rest of it, that's 4, that's x3, that's x1, and that's no x's. So those only 2 you can combine. So my answer, x to the 4th plus 3x to the 3rd And 5x squared and minus 2x squared makes a positive 3x squared. You got minus